Welcome, welcome. Lordy, Lordy, Lordy. Don't you know, family? Don't you know the ancestors, all our deceased, they are rejoicing because the time is now. Nah. The time is near when all that will that will be done. That will be done. That's what I want to say. Hey Rob, Till, how you doing? And I hear that good old song singing. There's no need to worry what tomorrow's gonna bring. It'll be all over in the morning. In the morning. In the morning. It'll be all over in the morning. There's no need to worry what tomorrow's going to bring, because it'll be all over in the morning. See, all that we've learned, all that we've been given, has been nothing but stuff from the gut. We have been pulled down to the gut, the lowest of the low. We lost our ma'at. But don't get it wrong, ma'at lives within. Ma'at lives within us. But they have given us jealousy, so much sickness, so much chaos. And if you can't see it by now, look at a neighbor and say, I must be blind. I must be blind. Because it is too clear to see. You got our full community with so much chaos, so much things that we never had before. And what I mean by before is pretty much things that we've been taught, that's been passed down to generation to generation. I think some people call them generation curses. And these are the things that we have that have been passed down. And when we look at jealousy is something that cannot live in a balanced, high chakra body. It just can't exist there because you have too much wisdom, too much sense for it to live there. It doesn't live up there. It only lives in this downward level that we've been pulled into. So we work hard. At least, I hope that we work hard on trying to pull ourselves out from the lower chakra, from the gut, from making these decisions, from our perception of the world, to our thinking that has been formulated to go against each other. Our need to love, gossip, talking about other people, bringing other people down. That's not you. That's not you. It never was. But somehow, that wickedness has been implanted. And, even though we may have given a hard fight to prevent it, we still were penetrated by it. And unfortunately, this is what we get. This is the results. The old saying that goes, you lay down with dogs, you get fleas. But I'm not saying that we willingly lay down with dogs and got fleas. Um, this has been a stripping of who we are as a people and our culture. And in that, not only did they do that, they stripped us of land and abilities to care for ourselves, to in the way that other groups have been able to do, um, benefit from. But I don't even think other groups have really been able to do those things as well. I think it's just one big cesspool, but they do have it a lot better than we would have had it because of who we are as a people. Because we are a special, sacred people, we're going to be secretly squashed or secretly stepped upon because it has to be secret. Um, it's a secret to who we are. Because, if you tell someone who they are, you empower them. And then their power won't allow you to take advantage of them. So this is just the way it is. So all of these things, the mind state that we've been given, is not of our own nature. And when you're in the high chakra, you have no need for jealousy because you understand. You know what that you understand the world in a whole different light. There's that low level light, and then there's a high level light. And the low level light goes around manipulating and does trickery. So it's a whole lot of trickery that's been done out here. I was just watching a video on the truth about syphilis. And they were testing our brothers with syphilis back in, and we talked about it here on my channel about that. And the Tuskegee experiment, of course. So I'm going to share a little bit of that video because, this, the more I tried to pull out evidence for you to see what you're dealing with and see who you are and who you should be striving more to be and less to be like. Because we think that wealthy here, that because they tell us someone's wealthy, that means that they're in high standards. Don't get it twisted, family. That's a fictitious, that's a fake high standard. That is nothing real about that status of wealth, because wealth is not real. Real wealth is when you have inherited something quite naturally without stealing it. It never was stolen, never was taken. No low-level energies involved whatsoever. And by low-level energies, I mean no harming others have been done out of that. It was just given to you quite naturally. But when you do things in low energy, you yield low energy things, and that's what we're seeing today. That's what we're seeing done to a people who harbor low energies, and they strive They do strive to get to the point where we are, but they pull us down and they lock us in with wealth, with a fictitious thing called money. Money will not do anything for us. They couldn't pay us enough money for our reparations. It just wouldn't work because it wouldn't do no good for us. It'd be just them putting us back in the situation of lockdown. We'd be back in lockdown unless that money is used for us to regain our land and independence again, our liberty, our freedom from the mind of uh, the wicked into back into our righteousness, then that's the only way. That's the only benefit. And that is just like buying gold, I would say, because it is worth so much more than you know, than you care to even dig into. Because when you think about it, you can rise above this once you receive all those things I mentioned. You can rise, you can start rising, you can start coming out of the jealousy they taught us to be in through uh, passed down through genetically, generation to generation, and colorism and um, status and thinking someone. But you know, one thing I recognized: every everything, every person is an aspect of myself in a different form, coming through in a different um, experience. So you cannot disconnect yourself. You have to connect yourself. You have to recognize. And once you recognize that, you also rise above all of this. You don't give a damn about someone making a video about you because that's just an aspect of yourself. That's just everything's an aspect of yourself. So um, that's why I say these things, they're going to dissipate. What we call wicked is going to dissipate because it cannot exist in the higher arena. It just cannot exist. And trying to push to rise above, for me, it's very critical. I love to save souls. I think our souls are very, very, very important, that we don't have to do all this or suffer anymore or see such horrors as we believe, as we've been forced to believe and see, because we know that death is an illusion, but our minds is what keeps us locked down. And to our minds, these things in the matrix is very, very real. And our experiences are traumatic and real. We are mystical people. I say that to say this. I was talking to my mother. It's almost as if her experiences when she was younger, way before I was thought of, as if I was there and seeing some of them. So that is very, 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 very much a spiritual experience that I have not yet to clearly be able to figure out. It's just when I'm finally beginning to see a little bit clearly on that situation, because I got to think, how do I remember her grandparents? How do I remember walking or going to visit them? Or, how do I remember certain things that weren't my experiences, but it's somebody else's. Like I said, we have to look at these things and not think because the world around us doesn't have these experiences. No, we are unique, even though everything is in some kind of form of us, you know, uh, the experience is different. That's what makes that's what makes it like that. Like I can be a smart person for in certain areas, right? And then I see someone that is a little bit seems like they're at a different place than me and they're more smarter than me. I might think that. I might think that in my mind. But that's an aspect of me born and coming through in a different environment than me, uh, different kind of parents than me, um, total different experience than me, but it's still an aspect of me. And that's the way we have to see it. We have to be very, 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 very wise when it comes to um, these little things in this low level that we're experiencing as a people because it's not real for us. It's not real for us. We've been given a lower frame of thinking, mind frame of thinking, and it just it makes it makes our situation difficult. And I guess from what I'm gathering, like they say, it could be it's a test, and some souls will be lost and have to come back and do it all over again. And then some souls will make it through. And like I said, it's important that we listen to within, listen to the ascended masters that are within us, all, and as well outside of us. But for the most part, we have to realize it's all within us. All is within us. Um, and that's very critical that we recognize that and stop giving some energy and power to something else when you need all the energy and power you can get. Talking about white supremacy, when it's not, who cares? Because white is not white in the matrix. Supreme is not supreme in the matrix, because it's a make tricks. It's just to play on your mind. You should see clearly, contrary to the truth, contrary to what you believe you've been forced to think is the truth, when it's a lie. And you see, when we really deeply, critically think about these things that we endure or we see, like especially people who like to hear other people's downfalls, those are your downfalls. We all share this, unfortunately. And I think it's pretty ignorant to feed off of it. But the white man, he got you feeding off of it and thinking, and he made it profitable, but it's senseless. Of course, it's going to be profitable. What do we expect? It's the lowest place to be is a wealthy person in the matrix, because it's not at all what it seems at all. It may seem like they didn't gain the world, but in all reality, when we look at the fictitiousness of money, is here today, go on the next. And it really doesn't, it really can't get you, it really can't get you where you need to go now, today. And where you need to go now, today, is past all of this, past the filthy thoughts, filthy, low gut way of seeing the world. And, um, we just have to see past that and above that, because it really harms our families. You see too many family members who, who do nothing but gossip, gossip, gossip. And that splits families up. And then you got people who like the, you know, people hearing people's downfalls and making it profitable. It's profitable. Um, it's just a disgrace. It's a real disgrace that, you know, we don't let our natural light show more better than that. And we allow a people who have been nothing but evil to us to pull us down and make us evil, make us wicked, you know. So, it really hurts. It really, really hurts that, our people are so divided, so split up, and because of this word jealousy. And um, we don't have what we used to try to strive to have, which was a sense of community. It's like they put their jealousy out on us and took all our land, stole from us, raped, killed, destroyed. And now we turn in return, we come and we do the same. That's painful. That's painful to know, that a people was done like that, and now they become like that. They become the most awful people. But like I said in the beginning, there's no need to worry what tomorrow's gonna bring. It'll be all over in the morning. It's gonna be over in the morning. No need to worry. The ancestors, they got it in the bag. They already know what's gonna happen. You can see it. So someone has to pay for this mess, for the chaos. And it's just a natural order. I think it's just a natural order of the life. Just a natural order of life. And like I said, the critical part is to stay high in our chakras. That means taking good care of ourselves, realizing that every aspect of us, deserves respect. I don't care if it's the worst aspect of us, deserves some kind of, peace, some kind of, even though, and we know that. We know this naturally. It's just some of our people, it can overtake them. And those are the ones that get sacrificed. They're the ones that go because they fall for the matrix. They fall for this matrix. And they allow the matrix to cause them to do things out of my heart, far from my heart, far from their balance, far from who they are, because you see, and it ends up winning. The beast ends up winning. So it's critical, very critical, that we have that balance and think about these things like the word jealousy and see, exactly where they're going with this. Why are you being bombarded by this talk, by gossip, by, you know, people's instant gratification off of other people's downfall, you know? Um, it's just, we have to look at that, you know, and learn from those things and strive not to fall into those things because the damage has been done. And like I said, thy will be done. Thy will be done. And like I said, they're rejoicing, every day rejoicing for the day and the time when it's all over and they can be free from where they're stuck, where their souls are lost, you know. And return back to that higher thing. So now I think I'm gonna get back into that video. I'm gonna share that video with you guys. Let me get my thing together here. I gotta set my thing together and I show that video.
Best winter festivals we've ever had in Heart Lake City. Ever!
Okay. I have to go back in the history here. Okay, I got it. Let me share it with you guys. And we'll go over this video and we'll look at the disgrace. We'll just look at the disgrace. Let me stop sharing that one and I'm gonna share this one. Because they tried to I'm just gonna stop it and we'll discuss it like that. Okay, fine, we'll just discuss it like that. Okay, let me go back to sharing mode. Okay. All right, let me play it.
When Christopher Columbus crossed the Atlantic in 1492, he carried with him diseases which all but wiped out the native Indian population. Their revenge, according to history, was to send back to Europe the scourge of syphilis. But now, a skeleton unearthed in an English monastery can at last put the record straight.
Confusion. There's some bipolar confusion in this already that I'm peeping. Okay, they first said that he came to the Americas with syphilis. And then they turned around and said he took it back to Europe with him. Well, anyway, let's get back to it.
This is the true story of syphilis. This story begins in Hull. When the city planners decided to build a new magistrates' court next to a multi-storey car park in the town centre, it gave the local archaeological unit the chance to survey the site first for ancient remains and artefacts. Working within a very limited time frame, the team worked day and night digging out what they suspected might be the remains of a medieval friary. By the end of the dig, they had unearthed more than 240 skeletons and countless artifacts. Information which painted a detailed picture of a shadowy medieval world. A heady mix of religion and riches, medicine and morality, sex and disease.
We have the complete ground plan for a medieval monastery, which is almost unheard of. It's a major piece of archaeological work.
John Buglas is the project leader for what has become known as the Magistrates' Court site, responsible for recording every last detail of the excavation.
We're fortunate with this site that preservation conditions are excellent. We have surviving coffins, textile fragments, leather objects. We have bodies that still got shoes on and things like that. So we have really good skeletons to look at.
One skeleton in particular from the Hull site was said to be history.
Very soon after we got the skeletons, we started to see things that were rather unusual. And particularly, there was a lot of infectious disease in the site, including what we thought were classic cases of syphilis. And this one here, 1216, this 25 to 35-year-old male is one good example. In fact, it's the best example.
The skeletons from the Hull site were sent to the University of Bradford for analysis. It's usually incredibly difficult to diagnose the cause of death so long after the event, as many diseases leave no trace at all on the bones. But syphilis is one of the few exceptions. Charlotte Roberts is an expert in paleopathology, the archaeology of disease. Can she be sure that skeleton number 1216 really did have syphilis?
There are a number of changes in the skeleton for recognising syphilis. If we focus on the skull, you can see immediately that there's something wrong. Normally, and if I just get a skull that's not affected by the disease, you would expect to see a smooth surface on this part of the skull. But here, you've got pockmarked lesions, holes in the bone. It's something that people call caries sicca. It's characteristic of venereal syphilis. You don't see it in any of the other syndromes. So I would say that's characteristic of the disease. The other thing on this skull is that you've got a hole in the palate, the connection between the nose and the mouth, and that's commonly seen in syphilis. If we move down the skeleton, what we see again is bone formation and bone destruction. I think probably the most florid bone formation is actually on the leg bones. This is the thigh bone, and you can see the whole length of it has got the formation of bone. We've also got some destructive lesions here and here.
With unlimited DVR, you can stream classics like The Office whenever you'd like. YouTube TV.
Here's what $5 a month with Lemonade covers.
If you look at one of the lower leg bones, again you're seeing the same sort of changes that you see here, but also you get a massive amount of bone formation on the front of this lower leg bone, which people call a sabre shin because it looks like a sabre. Imagine the inflammation, the swelling of these limbs, the redness, the heat, the pain.
Apart from skeleton 1216, the site contained 2 more classic cases of the disease, and there were characteristic signs of syphilis in more than 60% of the bodies. But all these people were buried in the sanctuary walls of a deeply religious community. And syphilis is a venereal disease. It is contracted through sexual intercourse. So what kind of religious community was this?
So we already know what Europe was about back then. I think that they're saying 1300s or somewhere in there.
The building belonged to a Christian order called the Augustinian Friars. And this complex of cloisters, living accommodation and church was the friary. It was one of the first to be established in England, and in 1539, the last to be destroyed. The brothers were not rich, like some other religious orders of the time. They were supposed to beg for a living. These friars were the social services of their day. They looked after the poor of the town. They were skilled in medicine, and they cared for the sick, whether they were rich or poor. Their good works and religious calling put them beyond reproach. And they were, of course, celibate. But the skeletons from the Hull Friary proved the presence of a sexually transmitted disease. What had gone so perversely wrong amongst the brothers here?
Well, we know what went perversely wrong with the brothers at that place.
There was more evidence from the dig which could not easily be explained away. A dozen bodies were found with a wooden rod buried alongside them, leading to the suspicion that these friars belonged to a flagellation sect.
We have a series of rods which are quite short. They're sort of about that long, and they still have the bark on them, and they're hazel, nice and whippy. And there has been a suggestion they're actually flagellation rods, because at this particular time, with plague sweeping through various parts of Europe, there was quite a strong movement, particularly on the continent, for self-flagellation and hair shirts, and you suffer more on this life, therefore the afterlife becomes better.
The Augustinian brothers were experts on the afterlife. They made a lot of money from death. They sold candles and winding sheets for the dead. They presided over funerals, held vigils, and said masses for the souls of the departed. all paid for by the wealthy merchant and aristocratic classes in order to save their souls, buying their way into heaven through the industry of the friars.
There you go. Woo. This thing is giving a lot of information.
This put the brothers in a powerful position. If they dispensed with their vow of poverty as easily as they seemed to have broken their vow of celibacy, they could make a fortune out of the misfortune of others. This medieval will from Hull shows that the system was certainly open to corruption.
We have two surviving wills from this period of time from Hull. And one of them actually states that a sum of money is to be put aside per friar who attends mass for this person's funeral. So which is terribly open to abuse, because you can just load up X number of friars. You could grab friars from every house in the area and bring them in to try and bulk your funds up.
The Augustinians were not a closed order of monks, shut away from the temptations of the world in a life of quiet contemplation. The priory was deliberately positioned in the commercial heart of the town, wedged in between the houses of wealthy merchants and the quayside of the bustling port.
One of the things that the trade that comes into Hull and makes its wealth is wine trade coming in from Spain.
But I think y'all got the message about this. This is a very good video to check out. Let me see if I can make a copy and send it out to you guys. Try to copy it. Okay, copy. Because I can't be here too long. Let me go to my comments. Hey there. Let me put it in here. Y'all gonna have to catch this video later. I'm pasting it. I'm sending it out into the chat. And y'all can catch that video, the rest of that later. Because I'm gonna have to close up here because I'm about ready to go dead. My battery. And I need my rest. So yeah, I was just talking, Mr. Power Brain, just about the word that, you know, where we come from, there was no need of jealousy, you know, but where we are now, we've been inundated quite a lot with jealousy, and it's become a big problem, a huge problem. You know, this is life without Ahmad. You know, this is the world without the laws of nature, or respecting nature, or, you know, our love for you know, basically ourselves, I have to say. As I said, that deep love for ourselves, you know, we're locking in and getting us, you know, ourselves, moving ourselves out of this lower state into a higher state. You know, it's tough when we don't have, you know, a lot of things that we need. You know, we don't, you know, and those things we should strive to get. We should be striving to get those things, striving so we can get to the point of where we're trying to get to, you know. So with that said, enough is enough chatting, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you, Pirate Brain. Thank you, that guy from Texas, and thank you, Raw Tall, Vital, Vegetarian. Thank you so much, family, for being here. And with that said, true love, world peace, higher self within the soul. Till next time, peace.